welcome everyone to the Inland Sports Show. Before we start the show, make sure you like this video and you've subscribed to the Inland Sports Show YouTube channel. And if you're a local business or organization and you'd like to promote yourself on this show, just send us an email, inlandsportsshow@gmail.com. The show starts right now. Garcia's left-footed. And what is up, everybody? Welcome to an at-home edition of the Inland Sports Show. My name is Pep Fernandez. Usually we're at the Teen Vision TV16 studio. Not this week. Our director, Johnny Nunez, got pulled in a different direction. He's a super busy guy. So once in a while, we will do it from La Casa de Fernandez. So this week, we got an at-home edition. And best of luck to Johnny on his big project that he's working on this week. And listen, later in the show, we're going to talk a lot of baseball. We just had the big county clash at San Manuel Stadium, and it was all CBL that day, all Citrus Belt League games. Coming up later in this show, we're going to hear from Beaumont first-year head coach Travis Tomsen, and then a little bit later, Yucaipa baseball stars Danny Arambula and Wes Hickey here on this show. We'll also check in with the Riverside Poly softball team, who has not lost a game in 19 consecutive contests. They lost their season opener 1-0 to Cajon, and then the 19 straight games after that, they have not lost. I think it's 18 wins and 1 tie in there. But Riverside Poly, red hot right now, trying to win an Ivy League championship. But we start the show right now with some real juicy local football news. We love juicy football news here on the Inland Sports Show. And this one's with our old good friend, Tommy Leach, the great Tommy Leach. He's back, the former Chaparral head coach, Roosevelt head coach. He's going to take over at Jurupa Hills, a CIF champion from a year ago, taking over for our good friend Citos Marinez, who is now going to Roland High School. So congratulations to Coach Marinez. Now Tommy Leach steps in and tries to pick up where the Spartans left off last season. That was hoisting a championship, D8 in the Southern section, and then going to the state finals. So here is our interview with head coach Tommy Leach, talking about why this was the perfect time to come back into the head coaching ranks and why Jurupa Hills was the perfect fit. Here's the great Tommy Leach. Inland Sports. He's one of our favorite guys. He's back in the game as a head coach. It is the great Tommy Leach. So, Coach, everybody wants to know, why get back into head coaching? What was it about Jurupa Hills that you just like, hey, I can't turn this down. This is too good to be true?
So, first of all, I just took off 1 year because my son, he, has autism, and like he was going into kindergarten. So we had a lot of services, right? So we had to get him caught up on the services, and pretty much, me trying to be a good dad, trying to help my wife out. But after, kind of the year, we felt like we were comfortable. But my wife, really, I'm not joking. She's like, hey, you need to get back into coaching. You need to get your mojo back. I mean, honestly, I need football more than football needs me. And it's really a blessing. I think God's blessed me with the ability to coach, and, with all my, kind of support with my coaching staff that I work with, keep me grounded and keep, kind of like a battle cry, right? As a person, like you have that battle cry. I think coaching gives me that battle cry. And, I've met many spiritual leaders through coaching that has helped me kind of become a better person. So, I mean, that's kind of why I got back into it. Now, why Jurupa Hills? Man, it's amazing. Like, I didn't even know it was opened up. It kind of just happened really fast. I was going to go back and help out Roosevelt. And you know, I was all dialed in. We were bringing my old defensive coordinator to coordinate the defense at Roosevelt. And then one of my friends, like, he was talking about, hey, look, what are you going to do? I'm like, there's not many jobs open. He's all, oh, text me. He's all, Jurupa Hills is open. I'm like, no way, right? And I know some people through there. And anyway, interviewed there. And, you know, a lot of the connections are through, like, Kurt Bruick, like at Rev, and him and I have had some good competitions together when I was at Chaparral. Always had the most respect for him and the people he's worked with. So people are over there. But, you know, so it all happened really fast. And I'm like, wow, this is an awesome opportunity. You know, so I'm just really excited. I know they're coming off a championship. It's just crazy because going in, not one of their coaching staff's going to stay. They're pretty much all out. And, you know, pretty much bringing my coaching staff, who a lot of us are like, have worked with me at Roosevelt or Chaparral. So we got great pedigree where we're, you know, we're used to competing at a high level, right? Division 1, 2, and 3. And so we're excited to bring that kind of flavor to Jurupa Hills, but really excited, like, knowing that they've got that championship pedigree as well, right? I mean, they're champs. And like I told them, you know, you guys are defending champs. I'm not. I've got a lot to prove. Coming back, I haven't won a championship since 2009. But I know my teams have always competed at a really high level. And, you know, so hopefully it's just a perfect marriage. I think it's going to be. I love that administration. During the first meeting, they were all there. Every one of the administrators was there. It was awesome. Just felt really, really good. Felt blessed to be there. And it's the right place to be.
So it sounds like you already have your staff in place. You've already talked to the kids over there. It sounds like you got the ball rolling already, Coach.
Yeah. I mean, so in a way, like, it kind of is bad because I get hired on a Monday, and then, you know, I couldn't really hire guys because, like, I didn't know, like, okay, am I official? The board didn't approve me, so I didn't want to jump the gun. And then I meet the team Monday, and the board's approving me Wednesday. So then on Wednesday, you know, I'm talking to all my guys, kind of like I was getting them prepping them, like this might happen. And then, like, the weird thing is, then they go on spring break, right? So now they're on spring break. So I met them last Monday, and then this Monday they started spring break. So I never really got to work with them. And then the next week I'm still going to be hiring guys. So I'm like, hey, we're going to start real April 8th. I'll be there every day. Like, until the meantime, it does matter. This will make a difference of what you do in the weight room. I know they got a great trainer, Joseph, who also does a lot of weight training with them. So he's committed to doing that while I'm getting, you know, everything else in order. And, you know, so I don't think it's going to hurt that we're starting late. Hopefully it just gives us more fire, you know?
So you feel like you got your mojo back? Are you excited? You know, like your wife and the home is good right now, and you're like, okay, now I can get back into coaching and lead a program. You feel like you're excited about this?
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm like really, you know, I'm blessed to have a wife that will support me and wants me to do that. Notices the difference between, you know, me not having, you know, a certain drive or like I said, a battle cry, because, you know, I mean, football changed my life. I mean, that's the way it is. Like, people got testimonies and all that stuff about, you know, why people go close to God. And, you know, I've always been close to God, but I've been a big time sinner, you know, and had major issues. So being close to God and having football in my life has really changed my whole livelihood. When you ask people, like, you know, they can't believe, like, I'm a head football coach, you know, people that taught me, people that I've worked with, you know, but, you know, I learned under the best. Dave White at Edison, he's a Hall of Fame coach. And like, he's the man that I just like, hey, what would Dave do? And sometimes when I don't listen, what would Dave do? It's usually the wrong thing. And then we, you know, make a mistake. But God's put me with football to change my life. It feels like there's a purpose.
And speaking of that purpose, you feel like that trickles down to your kids too, right? Like you're the head coach of that program at this time for a reason.
Yeah. And that's it. Like I've got instant empathy with every situation. So this, like, my whole perspective is not just football. I look beyond the field, even as a teacher, beyond the classroom, right? I don't just look at what happens in the classroom. You know, I got to put myself in a position like, hey, what are they going through at home life? You know, what kind of situation. I mean, it might be like my home life was. But and then even the ones that don't have to struggle, right? And have to get motivated in other ways to be successful. But every aspect of football I love. I love it. I love the winning. I love the losing. I do. And people don't get that. But, a lot of lessons are learned through losses. Through the struggles. And I even think like Jurupa Hills, they went 4-6 in the regular season. I think if they didn't go 4-6 in the regular season, they wouldn't have won a championship. They were battle tested. They learned from their mistakes. But everything from whether the parents complaining and having problems, me trying to figure that out. How can I ease that? Or, having trouble, even my players struggling with a girlfriend or relationship. How do I help them out? How do I help them out in the classroom? I just love every aspect of football. I love the relationship with my coaching staff, talking to you, it's a blessing.
So, Coach, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, Jurupa Hills coming off a CIF championship, Division 8 last year, going to the state finals, all that. I mean, so they had a fantastic season. So it's not like you're going into a program that needs rebuilding. They're already at a championship level. Where are you hoping to take it? Maybe, like you said, you've been competing in Division 1 and 2 and 3. Like, are you hoping to take what Jurupa Hills has already built and maybe continue on that and take it to the next level?
So, honestly, like every program I've taken over, like 2-8 Diamond Ranch, we go to the semifinals. Chaparral was 3-7 the year before I got there. We go to the finals in the Home Depot Center the next year. I take over Roosevelt. They were 3-7 the year before. We go to the semifinals. So I've never taken over a winning program, right? I'm usually but I'm a champion, right? And I know how to do it when you are a champion and they're a champion. So for me, I think it's a perfect marriage. I'm really excited to be there. And there's a lot of things they could do. Like I know they didn't win league last year. I know they didn't beat Glendora last year. There's a lot of things that they didn't do that we could do. We could be league champs, right? They weren't league champs. They weren't state champs. We could be state champs. So there's a lot of unfinished business. Obviously, my pedigree, I'd like to compete at the highest level and try to get our players to, expect to win. Let's say they were in Division 6. Okay, well, let's win Division 6, Let's say we go to Division 5. Let's win in Division 5. Any division we get placed in, let's go ahead and win it, right? And that should be our expectation. And I think I got the coaching staff that kind of backs me up in that vision. And I'm really excited to, try to get those players to back me up in that division. And I mean, that vision. And I know the coaching staff before me, they did an awesome job. I know they're all going to pretty much rolling, most of them. Mm-hmm. I tried to keep a couple of them, but they were like, hey, whatever, I get it. But they did a great job and they should be congratulated. But I'm hoping to just, take what they did and even build it better.
Yeah, I don't know if you talked about that Bruick, coaching tree and all the people he knows.
Yeah.
Cedos Marina is a great guy at Jurupa Hills.
Yeah.
And congrats to him on that rolling job. So Tommy, what's the next couple of months look like for you in terms of getting the team ready? You talked about their spring break right now, but as soon as they get back, is it weight room? Are you a big 7-on-7 guy? Like, what's the next couple of months going to look like for you?
So we'll start April 8th, and we're going to start Monday Night Football. So every Monday nights we're going to be practicing, but we're going to be lifting and running and doing all that stuff through in period. And then we'll do Monday Night Football. And then come spring, obviously we're going to go, 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, lifting, running, practicing. I'm not really a big 7-on-7 guy. We do it. I mean, a lot of them get a lot of that 7-on-7 in the off season when they're throwing with their passing, guys, which is cool. And I love that. But I don't, I mean, I like to throw, but I don't put too much stock into it. Mm-hmm. Like I'll give you an example. We're at Edison one year and I created that Battle at the Beach tournament, right? I'm the one that created it. And so we're playing a team, Cypress, and we're like in the quarterfinals, whatever. And they beat us, right? And they're talking, all their players, their coaches are talking. And my wife, my head coach, Coach White, he's like, we'll see you game one. Well, we played them game one. And at game one, it was 62-0 at half. So that it tells you something about it. Now, with that said, many teams that are successful in the passing league are successful on the field too. So I'm saying it doesn't translate, but some of it doesn't, right? Sure. And it's not real football. Another example, like teams we've played before wouldn't even play my teams, right? But they'll throw against us, but they're not going to play us. So, but it is fun. I like them to kind of like learn sportsmanship and things like that, because I know some of 7-on-7, like on the other end where it's not like regulated through their high school coaches, gets a little crazy. So sometimes when they come, you got to kind of like teach them lessons like, hey, look, you can't do that here. We got to be, we're representing the high school now and all that stuff. But, and I'm not knocking the other stuff too, because there's a lot of great coaches out there too that I have great relationships with that do an amazing job. But sometimes that gets a bad name, right?
Yeah.
It does get a bad name. And, but as far as 7-on-7 goes, we'll throw some. We'll be in a couple tournaments, but I don't put much stock into it at all.
Well, Coach, listen, I got to run, but I really appreciate our conversations. As soon as I got hit up and they're like, hey, the great Tommy Leach is back in the game, I'm like, oh, it's about time. Let's do this. So congratulations, Coach. I'm really excited for you and Jurupa Hills too.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you, Pep. I love you, man. All you do. Blessed to have you work in high school sports. So thanks for having me on.
You got it. That's Tommy Leach, the new head football coach for Jurupa Hills. Inland Sports. Always fun talking with the great Tommy Leach. When we come back here on the Inland Sports Show at Home Edition, as promised, a lot of baseball coming up. Next up, we're going to check in with Beaumont head coach Travis Tomsen. That's next here on the Inland Sports Show. And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco. #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Rialto, right off the 210 freeway at Ayala Drive. Eat more chicken.
Do you know how many calories you should be consuming every day? Too often I talk to athletes who want to build lean muscle, and the first thing they do is either buy a big tub of protein or drastically cut their calories. Like competing, to get the win with nutrition, athletes need a solid game plan. This means a diet that consists of complex carbs, lean proteins, and essential fats. And more importantly, knowing how much to eat of each. Your boy, Boost Man.
The Inland Sports Show is proud to partner with Dr. Marcus Paulson and Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Dr. Paulson and his team work with children, teens, and adults using orthodontic products like traditional braces and Invisalign to make a difference in the appearance, comfort, and function of each patient's teeth. Paulson Orthodontics welcomes new patients, so schedule a visit today. Paulson Orthodontics. We make braces fun. And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show at Home Edition. Let's talk some high school baseball, specifically in the Citrus Belt League. We'll talk Yucaipa a little bit later in the show, but right now we want to check in with Beaumont High School head coach Travis Tomsen, first-year head coach for the Cougars. His wife is from Beaumont, played softball at Beaumont, is a teacher at Beaumont like Coach Tomsen is now. So they've got deep roots going into Beaumont right now. They're trying to turn Beaumont into a baseball powerhouse. You know, of course, they've had a lot of success in boys and girls basketball, softball, of course, soccer, volleyball, a lot of sports, trying to do it in baseball as well. Travis Tomsen's a former King High School guy, also played at RCC, so he's from nearby Riverside, did some big things over there with Coach Scott, and when he was at King High School, Coach Rogers, of course, with the RCC Tigers. But here's our interview with Coach Tomsen, again, being first-year head coach with the Cougars, trying to win right now and be competitive in the CBL, maybe challenge for the league championship, finish in the top 3 for a CIF Southern Section playoff spot. There was a tough loss against Rev at the county clash, but he says the Cougars will bounce back. Here's our interview with Coach Tomsen.
Inland Sports.
And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show. He is the skipper for the Beaumont High School baseball team, Travis Tomsen. And Coach, welcome to the show. You're making your maiden voyage on the Inland Sports Show. I really appreciate you jumping on here. As we're going through league play right now, Coach, in the CBL, I know it was a tough one at the county clash against Rev, but you got a pretty good team. What do you like about this Beaumont baseball team this season?
I mean, from what I saw when I first came in mid-August to where we're at now is just how much they've grown as a team together, like their camaraderie with each other. I mean, Beaumont's a small town and everybody knows each other, but it's still like that aspect of them, like just being all for each other and being a team is what I absolutely love. They know how to have fun, but they also know how to bear down, get serious when it's time to get serious. And I absolutely love that about my guys.
Now, Coach, if I have my information correct, you were the head coach out at Indio, correct?
I'm the pitching coach.
The pitching coach. Okay. Is this your first head coaching gig?
At the high school level, yes. I coached a travel ball team that I was technically the head coach of. But as far as like the high school level and above, yeah, this is my first head coaching job.
So at what point in your baseball career did you think, you know what? One day I'd love to be a high school coach, a head coach, and lead my own program. Was that always something in the back of your mind that you wanted to do someday? Or, I don't know, maybe it just kind of fell in your lap. I think you were also an athletic director at Entrepreneur, I think, in San Bernardino and Highland, too. So, how did you get to this point?
So for me, I mean, the idea of coaching didn't really come to me until after I was done playing. I was like every other kid. I was going to chase that dream as long as I could. Played my 4 years of college ball, got my chance in independent ball, hoping I can get somebody to notice me. And when I got told by multiple scouts, you're just too short for my position, I realized, my dream of being a big leaguer was just not going to be there. So I was able to step away from the game before it kicked me out. So I have zero resentment for the game. I still love the game. As much as I am a competitor and I love to compete, and my guys will tell you that I will hop in on some drills and compete with them because I still can. While I still can, I will always. I don't know. I like right when I was done playing, I just kind of sat back and I bounced from random job to random job. I sold shoes. I was a knife salesman. I worked at Sports Authority for a little bit. Like just random odd jobs. I worked for a telecoms company. I worked at a casino. And it was actually the 2015 season when I was still working on my degree at Vanguard. Our former assistant coach had passed away. So I reached out to the head coach and said, hey, if you need help, running practices and stuff, I'm your guy. And he offered me a paid gig, paid assistant coach, and got to be a part of that team, which we went to the NAIA World Series for the first time in 30 years with that team. And I absolutely just fell in love with coaching. And so I reached out to all my former coaches. I was like, what's the steps to get to where you guys are? And they all said, if you really want to get the most out of it and survive as a high school coach, you're going to need to start teaching. So I started teaching. I got my teaching credential from CBU and was coaching here and there. After Vanguard, I coached at my alma mater, King High School in Riverside, for a year. I was the pitching coach for the varsity staff there. And they made after that year, they made a coaching change. And so I was gone with the head coach and sat out a year and ended up at Poly High School, a rival of ours. And it burned a little putting the orange and green on, but I ended up falling in love with that place. I had great support. We had great admin. And then, life happened. I got married, moved into a house in Beaumont. My wife's a teacher here in Beaumont. Moved out to Beaumont, got the telecoms job. Did that for about a year and a half while I was working on my credential. Worked at the casino while I was doing my student teaching, and I said I got to get back into this coaching. I ended up getting a coaching job at Indio. They gave me a teaching position with it, and that led to eventually, I wanted to be closer to home here in Beaumont, and when a teaching position opened in Beaumont, I was fortunate enough to get it. And then the coaching job opened up, and I said, this is something I want to do. I want to put my roots down here in Beaumont. I want to continue to be a part of the game that made me who I am, the game I love, and be around family and, instill the life lessons that I learned through baseball into this community through baseball. And that's how I got where I am now. I'm very fortunate. I know I'm considered young for a head coach. I still got umpires joking about whether I'm going to strap on a jersey and put a helmet on, swing the bat. And I was like, no, but you might see me on the mound. And it's been a blast. It's been a good ride to get where I'm at now. Mm-hmm. And I've had it.
Coach, I love that journey, man. You're a King guy. I think you also pitched at RCC, right? Before you went to the 4-year level. Yeah. And you assistant coached at Riverside Poly. So, I cover a lot of Riverside baseball teams as well. I don't know if you were with Steve Madrill and Billy Ermer and some of those guys, but who are some of your coaching influences?
So while I was playing, I was playing for Ken Scott. Billy Ermer was the assistant coach. Alvin Davis was our assistant coach. Yeah. And then when I got that coaching job at King, it was still Ken Scott with Billy Ermer. And then Madrill came in, and that's when we left, and Ermer got the job at Poly. I went with Ermer to Poly. But I would say Scott, Davis, Ermer, those guys have had a huge impact on not just my baseball career, but my life. They were just solid human beings, so with so much compassion and love for the game, and I will forever be grateful for the opportunity to play and coach with them. Rogers, Rogers is that's a tough pill to swallow if you don't know what you're getting into when you go to RCC. And I was all for it. He's big on the mental game. He likes to challenge you mentally, but I'm all for it. And so I absolutely loved playing for Dennis Rogers at RCC. Another guy, Mike Trapasso at the University of Hawaii at the time. He was the head coach. I was just some walk-on, and he showed me all the love in the world. And, even when I decided to transfer from Hawaii, he was very supportive and understanding. And I still call him or text him, sometimes email on his birthday every year. I only remember because it's the same day as mine. I've been fortunate to play for a lot of great coaches. I even go back to my travel ball days. I played for the Riverside Rebels. Jeff Murray he was the combination of fierce and fun. And I got a lot of how I play from him. And then you get to, when I got to Vanguard, it was a completely different story with Rob Pegg over at Vanguard. I mean, the guy was just so cool, calm, collected, Christ-centered, and brought it to baseball. And I didn't understand how that worked at the time until midway through the season. I'm wondering why this guy doesn't get on us more. And, it's just in his nature being, a follower of Christ that, use compassion, use love, use kindness. And I bring that into what I do now, especially him. It's just I understand there's times to bear down on guys and get on them, but I try to lead with compassion and kindness and understanding. I was in all these players' shoes before, and I think back to what did I react to best as far as coaching, and the guys who would sit there and really show you that they cared and understand for your development, not just as a player, but as a human being. It changed my whole viewpoint on the game. especially from a coaching standpoint. I had some really cool coaches in independent ball. Tony Phillips was a little bit of an assistant coach when he came out with us, and he had a different, view of the game than we did, being, the era that he came from. But it's just like having all those different kinds of flavors added in. I pull from a little bit of everybody.
Sure.
I'll pull from Phillips, I'll pull from Rogers, Peg, everybody. And even when I'm struggling with something, I'll reach out to some of those guys and, hey, what do you do with this? Like in this situation? And they're always great. I've got to coach against Coach Scott. I've got to coach against I haven't got to coach against Ermert yet. I want to. We're going to set up something next year. But even another prospect or another product of King High School, Matt James over at Orange Vista. Yeah. Got to coach against him a couple times, and it's great seeing the guys you grew up with, even the guys you grew up under. With Coach Scott and his son Terrence over at Woodcrest Christian now, like coaching against them. It was weird seeing them in black and purple, but it was definitely a blast. There isn't a single coach that I don't have influence from or pull from.
That's awesome, Coach. Like you said, so many great people, so many great men in your life to kind of shape you, who, the manager, the coach that you are now. I do want to talk about the Citrus Belt League, because when you look at the IE, man, the CBL is right up there in terms of just tough leagues. Great coaches, great programs, always like D1 caliber baseball players coming out of the CBL. When I think Beaumont, I think obviously Jeff Steinberg and the football program and what they're doing there. Girls basketball's had a ton of success. How do you bring success to Beaumont on the baseball diamond and see if the Cougars can, be in the hunt for a CBL championship? Because I'll be honest, I feel like this year might be the most wide open season I've seen in the CBL, at least. I think from top to bottom, everyone feels like they probably have a chance to win a league title or at least, finish in the top 3 for a playoff spot.
Right. It is a very, very competitive league. I knew that going into it, with Yucaipa, Rev, and Citrus Valley. Those are some teams that I played against in high school, and they were really good back then. And now it's with Beaumont. The key is making sure that they continue to play as a team. That's what it is. And having kind of a sense of pride for where you're from. Yeah. And it starts even before they get to high school and getting these kids involved and kind of letting them know, like, hey man, like there's a lot of talent here, and you guys all stick together. You all come up together. You'd be surprised how good you guys could be come time to play high school ball, whether it be freshman, JV, or varsity level. There's a certain aspect of team camaraderie when you've played with these guys for years and years and years, as opposed to going somewhere else and not really knowing everybody like that. It's the camaraderie of a team can change the culture of the team. And when you got guys who are homegrown, who are, all about where they're from and have played together for so long, it can be a dangerous team in a good sense. Yeah. It can be dangerous. You got these guys who know each other. They know how they play, and they all know how each other ticks, and it changes the culture. And that's the biggest thing coming into this year is kind of giving them that thought process of like, it's more than just about you and this team. It's about this town. Yeah. And having that sense of pride in where you come from. And I know Riverside, where I came from, it's a lot bigger city, and there's so many high schools there. Beaumont, we're one high school town. Yeah. And my goal, and what I hope to do for the future, is be able to convince the talent to stay in Beaumont and convince those kids, it's worth sticking around and playing with each other and getting to high school and playing and competing for 4 years with each other through high school. And because it can lead to something great. You get new people coming in so often, and in and out. Everybody's transferring these days, and it's tough to feel like you fit in especially if you're not at home. And my goal is to keep these kids home and wanting to play with their boys that they grew up with and that they played with, and continue that kind of legacy here in Beaumont. and it's brand new for me because, I came from a big city where you could go down the street to Poly, you could go down the road over to Arlington, Ramona, all these schools, and still compete because it's just a plethora of talent out of that area. Where in Beaumont, there's still a plethora of talent. It's just a matter of keeping them here and letting them, know what they're really playing for.
Yeah,
not just them, and it's not just us. It's the community. It's our town and representing. That's something that Steinberg's done so well with the football program. That's a guy I've talked to here and there, little coaching tips. Football and baseball are completely different games, but coaching is coaching.
Yeah,
how you attack training them mentally is all the same throughout sports across the board. And, he's a great guy to reach out to and communicate with on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I would say there's some really great coaches at Beaumont right now, from football to basketball. Softball's had a ton of success, so it's a great place to be.
I have a relationship with the softball coach too, not just because baseball, softball, but my wife played for Frankie
Fooey. Yeah,
my wife played for him she was class of 2011 out of Beaumont, and he's still there. And I've since we've been together, I've ran into Frankie so many times. He's such a great guy, and he's doing a great job over there.
Yeah, he really, really is. Well, Coach, listen, I got to run here, but I really do appreciate the time, man. It was great to, catch up with you and get to know you a little bit better. And best of luck the rest of the way here in the Citrus Belt League. I know there's some big games still to come up and a lot to play for.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you having me on, and I'm an open book. Guys, if people want to know about me, want to know about Beaumont, want to know about the baseball team, I'm the guy. I absolutely love sharing their story, sharing my story, because you never know who it's going to reach and who it's going to touch, and, maybe influence in a positive way. Then that's what this is all about, leaving that positive impact.
Yeah, 100%, Coach, 100%. That's Travis Tomsen. He's the head baseball coach at Beaumont High School. And, Coach, congrats on the success so far this year. First year head coach here with the Cougars, and continued success down the road, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Inland Sports. First time on the show for Coach Tomsen. Really appreciate it. And big shout out to Cesar Diaz for hitting me up on Instagram and saying, hey, you should get Coach Tomsen on the show. He's doing some cool things at Beaumont. So really enjoyed that conversation, Coach. Thank you so much. And big thanks to Cesar for hitting us up on Instagram. So if you guys know a coach or an athlete out there that you think would be a great interview here on the Inland Sports Show, just send us a DM on Twitter or Instagram. We'd appreciate that. All right, when we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, we're going to talk a little softball at Riverside Poly, plus CBU women's basketball going to the big dance. We'll have that when we come back here on a special at-home edition of the Inland Sports Show. And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Rialto, right off the 210 freeway at Ayala Drive. Eat more chicken.
Hey guys, this is Jason at Ken Sporting Goods. We're almost to 1,000 Instagram followers. Tell your friends, like us, come down, see us. Thank you so much for your loyalty.
Do you know how many calories you should be consuming every day? Too often I talk to athletes who want to build lean muscle, and the first thing they do is either buy a big tub of protein or drastically cut their calories. Like competing, to get the win with nutrition, athletes need a solid game plan. This means a diet that consists of complex carbs, lean proteins, and essential fats. And more importantly, knowing how much to eat of each. Your boy, Boost Man.
Yeah, shout out to Bobby Wagner, Colony High School, Ontario guy. He's going to the Commanders, longtime Seahawk, played for the Rams. He's going to be in Washington. And our guy Joe Flacco, who the comeback player of the year, unbelievable bounce back year for Flacco. He's going to the Indianapolis Colts because he kind of revived his career at 39 years old.
Right. And hey, you never know. The rookie, well, I mean, it'll be his second year. Anthony Richardson, I mean, he was hurt last year, so you never know. Flacco might get right back in there. And I mean, he's shown he can still play.
Because the Clippers, we've talked about this numerous times. They look legit. They look like they could be an actual title contender, but not if Kawhi is not going to be on the floor.
Got to have Kawhi on the floor. I mean, I know if it is going to be, quote unquote, an injury, I think this is the best possible outcome. I know back spasms are bad, but at least it's not, a strained back or a disc or anything like that. I believe he could come back from this. It is bad. Don't get me wrong, but I think spasms are something that kind of just scary, right?
Yeah.
It's happening. You don't know how to control it. I believe he will be able to come back from this. If it were a broken bone or a fracture or something like that, I would spell disaster. I'm not at the disaster quotient yet.
You heard it here first. Patrick says, do not hit the panic button yet. Inland Sports. KCal rocks 96.7 FM, hanging out with my boy Patrick in the morning every Monday and Thursday. So check it out. That's KCal 96.7 FM. We're going to talk some high school softball in just a moment. But first, a quick shout out to the champs, the Western Athletic Conference regular season and tournament champions, California Baptist women's basketball, going to the big dance, the NCAA Division I tournament for the first time in program history. Congratulations to the Lancers winning the WAC, and now they will play UCLA in the first round coming up on Saturday night at Poly Pavilion at UCLA. The Lancers will be the number 15 seed. As I mentioned, UCLA is number 2. But who knows? Anything can happen. Anything can happen in March Madness. So congratulations to CBU making some school history, going to the big dance for the very first time. Well, from the big dance to a very big game on the high school softball diamond, softball coming up today. In fact, if you're watching our show live on Wednesday night, this game is probably just wrapping up. It's our Ken Sporting Goods must-see game. King and Norco in the land of the Big 8. Norco's 2-0 in league play. King is 2-0 in league play. Norco's coming off a season in which they reached the Division I championship game last year. They're loaded. They're talented. Coach Robinson is doing it all over again. And we'll see if anyone can challenge Norco in the Big 8 league. Maybe King. Maybe a longtime rival, Santiago. Roosevelt's had some good teams, but Norco sure looks like the favorite once again. But this is a big one. It's our Ken Sporting Goods must-see game, King and Norco. And again, if you're watching us on Wednesday evening, this game is probably just wrapping up right now. But two good, better than good, great programs on the softball diamond. Speaking of softball, let's go to our Big Boost play of the week. And man, I guess we just lucked out. We got some great highlights of a no-hitter, and this was actually the second no-hitter going consecutive games for Riverside Poly pitcher Miranda Denava. Inland Sports. It's the Big Boost play of the week. Denava tossed a no-hitter in the previously before this game against Heritage. Then she did it again against Heritage, going back-to-back games with a no-hitter, helping Riverside Poly stay unbeaten in their last 19 games. They're 18-1-1 overall on the season. They lost their season opener to Cajon 1-0, but since then, they are unbeaten in their next 19 consecutive games. 18 wins, one tie in there, but they have not lost in 19 straight. And Daynava, the no-no against Heritage. That was her second consecutive no-hitter. And I'm assuming she's going to be in the circle today, if you're watching our show, against Hemet. And they got another big game coming up on Friday against Temescal Canyon. After the no-hitter, we talked to Miranda and her head coach, Robert Sakaguchi.
Inland Sports.
But honestly, I know no-hitters are cool, but I'm not trying to throw one. So if it happens, then that's always a plus. Honestly, I was just trying to spin the ball, work on my movement. Got a lot of swings and misses, so that's always a plus. Honestly, I think the team is gelling very well. They're all playing behind me. I love being on the mound with them. I know they have my back. Defensive-wise and offensive-wise, they're usually on top of it. So the goal is to win it all. We're trying to win league right now. Obviously a good start, but we're just trying to win games.
Actually just checked our runs for and runs against the other day, and I think we're maybe under 20 runs we've given up or something. Our pitching's been fantastic all year. Miranda's been dominating, and we have a new freshman that's really good too. So with the combination of the two, they're pretty dangerous. Well, absolutely. Miranda, she knows. She gives us the opportunity to win every game. Our defense knows that she's going to get the job done. Unfortunately, our offense sometimes, probably relies on her a little too much. We've put some runs up in some games, but we haven't been consistent enough. We've stranded 21 runners this week in 2 games, and that's just not going to cut it. Later on down the line, especially when we get to Valley View and our competitors. And Temescal's having a great year, and just looking forward to the playoffs. Also, we got to improve on these things. Honestly, I've never looked into any of the records here. Last year I think we went on about 17 or 18. And I think we're on about 17 or 18 right now. But I've never looked at any of the record books at all. I guess my goal is always just to try and win league and then win a championship one day. I've never thought about the records, but.
Inland Sports.
All right, so again, if you're watching us live on Wednesday evening, Riverside Poly playing Hemet today. Haven't seen that final score. Who knows? Maybe Daynava threw her 3rd consecutive no-hitter. I guess anything is possible. They're having a great season. All right, when we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, we're going to check in with Yucaipa baseball stars Wes Hickey and Danny Arambula. But first, we're going to end this segment with a very special Boost training tip as we join the Boost man, Ray Bass, on location at Rancho Cucamonga High School with head football coach Brian Hildebrand. We'll be right back here on the Inland Sports Show. Hey, what's up, guys? We are on location at Rancho Cucamonga High School for another gridiron question with the Boost man, Coach Ray Bass. Here's the Boost man standing by with Cougars head coach Brian Hildebrand. Boost man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Pep. We're here with Coach Hildebrand at Rancho Cucamonga High School, and one of the things that I see that parents get wrong with their kids' development is chasing scholarships. So whether that is thinking that they need to market their kid a lot, or maybe paying private coaches for their networks that are often, ambiguous at best. But Coach, you've had a lot of great athletes who come through your program, earn scholarships. Tell us, what do athletes have to do in this program in order to earn a scholarship?
Yeah, thanks a lot. So, one of the things that the guys got to do is go out there and be the complete student athlete. They got to be the full package. Anytime that I have college coaches coming to talk to me, they're asking about their character, they're asking about their academics, they're asking about their work ethic and what they do on campus and how they are. And, when kids go out there and they're chasing scholarships, they got to really prioritize the things that are going to lead to them being found and sought out by those coaches, because a lot of times kids aren't going to go find it themselves. But you better believe that most of these coaches are going to do their homework. They're going to know who the kids are. They're going to go out there and do their due diligence to study them, understand what makes them tick, understand what kind of person they are. You got to be a great athlete. So it's about going out there and playing football at a high level. Having the measurables is one thing that everyone needs to have. Whether you like it or not, a lot of these coaches are asking about their size, their height, their weight. They want to know what they're running in the 40, what they're running in the 100, and just looking at all the measurables in terms of size. We've been able to have quite a few student athletes that may be undersized that have been able to get scholarships, and that's because, number one, they perform on the field, and then secondly, they do a great job in the classroom. So here at Rancho, we really try to prioritize academics. Guys do a great job in the classroom, and when you have a 3.0 or above, it opens up a lot of doors for you.
Hearing that, I love the fact that you guys are academics first, and just the idea that, talking about being a great athlete, which is really important. On our way up here, you were talking about a lot of your football players, being multi-sport athletes. I love that. I love to see, young student athletes who play multiple sports. How important is that, do you feel, for your program and as it relates to kids getting offers and getting scholarships?
Yeah, so colleges are multidimensional. They want somebody that's multifaceted, that can do it all. And so when they look at a guy and they understand they take care of business in the classroom, they can then look at the film, and then if they play other sports, that's a huge plus as well. We have guys that have been on our track team that play football for us for the past 3 years that have been some of the top track guys in the state. And so a lot of these coaches, one of the first things they ask is if they have verified track times. And so when a guy goes out there and they have a verified 100-meter dash, that's easy for a coach to go out there and say, well, this kid has an opportunity to play with great speed, and he has the endurance to go and compete at a high level in track and field. And a lot of those skills, especially speed and agility, are going to transfer over to football. And so we try to play a fast brand of football on both sides of the ball. Offense, we're going to try to create and generate explosive plays.
You're speaking my language. You're talking academics. You're talking, being a good athlete. You're talking speed, and that whole package. I think those things are really important. That's exactly what we talk about, here in our Gridiron series. Appreciate the opportunity. Yep. You got anything else for us?
Yeah, no, just really excited to go out there and compete this off season. Looking forward to it. We got a great team and great class coming up, so go Cougars.
Nice. Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Back to you, Pep.
Man, good stuff by the Boost Man and Coach Hildebrand there. If you have a question for the Boost Man, you can find us on social media. That's Boost Training. Find the DMs and send us your question for a future Gridiron question. And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Ken Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Rialto, right off the 210 freeway at Ayala Drive. Eat more chicken. Fabella's ready. Trying to work out of this inning. Base hit to left field. The runner coming around third, and he is safe. Now we got a couple situations here between first and second to throw home, and another run scores for the Blackhawks. They get 2. And that was the county clash this past Saturday at San Manuel Stadium. Big win for Citrus Valley, 11-3 the final score against Cajon. It was an all-CBL day out there, and we had Citrus Valley versus Cajon live on IEMG. So if you head over to the IE Media Group YouTube channel right now. You can check out that entire game. The first game of the day at the County Clash was Yucaipa and Redlands. The T-Birds coming away with a 3-zip win against the Terriers. Tonight here on the Inland Sports Show, we've got two of the stars for Yucaipa High School, Danny Arambula and Wes Hickey. Both big-time commits. Danny's taking his talents to LSU. Wes is going to USC. Both collected their 100th career hit. So they're both having great seasons, great careers at the high school level, but so much more. Big things on the horizon for both Danny and Wes. Check it out.
Inland Sports.
Join us here on the Inland Sports Show. A couple studs from the Yucaipa High School baseball team, Danny Arambula and Wes Hickey, joining us here on the program. Both big-time D1 recruits. And guys, first off, congratulations on the Division I scholarships. I know, obviously, that's a huge accomplishment for you and your families to get those scholarships. And I'm just going to go left to right. So, Danny, you're going to LSU, the Tigers. What was it about the SEC, LSU, the program, the coach, the facilities? What was it that you're like, hey, LSU is going to feel like home?
Right. So always since I was a kid, I've always loved LSU. Growing up watching them on TV and everything. So freshman year, when it come down to making a choice, it was between that and Coach Jay Johnson at U of A. And at the time, I chose Jay at U of A. And then he ended up going to LSU after my freshman summer. So then it kind of just worked out perfectly. I got to go over there. Just love the SEC, the biggest conference of baseball, and just the best baseball. And I want to play at the highest level. So that's where I want to be.
So, Danny, you're rocking the purple and gold. Wes, he's going to be staying a little bit closer to home, signing with USC, the Trojans. And, Wes, what was it about, I want to say the Pac-12, but I guess now it's going to be the Big Ten by the time you get there. What was it about USC?
I kind of had a similar story to Daniel here. I had a good relationship through, like, my freshman year with Andy Jenkins. And my freshman year was currently at Fullerton, but he ended up going to UW, and I ended up sticking with him, and I was committed to UW for like about a year or so, and then once he left, I kind of split as well, and then he ended up at SC, and we had such a strong relationship. It just ended working out, and as soon as I stepped on campus, it felt like home. So it was great.
For both of you guys, just the fact that you know where you're going to go to college, you have the scholarship. Does it make playing high school baseball a little bit more fun, so you can kind of relax and just go out there and enjoy playing high school, enjoy being around your high school teammates, try to go out there and win a league title, make a deep CIF run? Can you kind of relax a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I think you can. I mean, obviously, high school ball is fun because you're with your buddies who you've always grown up with and everything. But we still go out there and want to win, but have fun at the same time, and then just getting ready for the next level, always just grinding. Yeah, just adding on to Daniel, the competing never stops. We always try to work hard and push our teammates to be the best, and while pushing ourselves as well.
Well, guys, so far, the CBL is always, it's a bloodbath, man. It's always tough. There's so many good players, so many good programs. What do you think it's going to take for the T-Birds to bring home a CBL championship this season?
I think we're gonna have to run our offense and just execute everything. Honestly, if we get everything down, get all our signs down, and we just hit. We've had some great stuff on the mound this year. Every pitcher's gone out there and battled, and it's just gonna come down to the offense if we can put up runs and execute. So yeah, 100%. I agree with Daniel. It also comes down to having energy and just having that will to win, and then just want to be out there and grind and just give your heart out.
Like even going back to this, county clash on Saturday, you guys get that 3-zip win against Redlands, and Busby was great on the hill. But like Danny, going back to what you said, maybe a little bit more run support, right? Get those bats going a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. No, every pitcher has gone out there and battled their ass off. So it just comes down to us getting in the run for them, and we'll be good in the league. Yeah, 100%. It comes down to just us backing them up and supporting them, so they have no stress on the mound and no worry, so they could just deal.
All right, so Danny and Wes, you guys both recently collected your 100th career hit, 100 and counting at this point. Wes, I'll start with you, and I'll ask Danny the same thing. Just, the fact that's a huge milestone. That's a big number. So, what did it mean to you? And Wes, when you got your 100th, did you know it was number 100? And, are those kind of milestones important to you?
That's funny because Coach Grajeda, he had told me that I was close, like a game prior or a few games prior, and I asked him and he wouldn't tell me how close I was, so I kind of just kept playing it like it was another game and just go out there and just play like it's just another game. And it felt good to accomplish it. We put in hard work, hard hours to get where we want to be, and I'm just grateful and thankful that it happened.
How about you, Danny?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know the exact game when I hit it or when it happened, but obviously it's an honor. It's definitely cool to know that you've had that many hits in high school. It's not always something that you think about all the time. You kind of just go out there game to game, try and get hits and do what you can do for your team to win. But to hear that stat and just for the work that we put in to see the results is awesome. So exciting.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, for a team to have not one but two guys have over 100 career hits, that's a big deal for a high school baseball team. Guys, let me ask you, what's the end game? Both of you have obviously big time Division I scholarships waiting for you at the college level, but let's say the MLB draft rolls around and you guys hear your name called, or maybe you hear your name called in a couple of years, and then you make that jump to the pro level. I mean, is it Major League Baseball? Has that been the dream since you guys were little? What's the end game for both of you guys? I'll start with Danny, and then I'll go to Wes on this one.
Yeah, definitely. Ever since I've been a little kid, I've grown up watching Major League Baseball, wanting to be a pro forever. So now that opportunity is getting closer, and to have a chance to go out of high school is obviously a dream, and that obviously be like a dream come true for me, and I know Wes too. We all want to play baseball at the highest level. Obviously, if we have to go through college first, we're going to great programs, which will get us ready for that and get us more preps. But obviously, yes, the end goal is definitely the major leagues.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Us growing up together, we've always grinded together, competed together, whether we were on the same team or different teams, and we've put in countless hours of work, and that's all building up to obviously that end goal to hopefully play professionally and yeah.
What would you guys say your major league comp is? Is there a guy in the big leagues you're like, maybe you like the way he plays, maybe you think there's some similarities between how you play and they play? Is there any comp between you and a major leaguer?
I'll go first. I would say Matt Chapman.
Yeah.
He plays third base. We're similar in stature. He also plays third base, and I go to a hitting coach out in Orange County sometimes, and we have the hit tracks, and we'll layer it over swings, and it's almost the exact same. So that's my comp, I'd say.
I'd probably say Mookie Betts because he's a little quick guy, and he's more of a line drive guy. That's who I am. That's where I try to stay to be, and yeah, that's who I feel I would compare the most to.
Those are two great players to be compared to. Guys, let me ask you this. So there's still a couple weeks left here, obviously, in the regular season as we go through Citrus Belt League play and hopefully, a CIF playoff run after that. But just right now, what is it going to take for Yucaipa to win that league championship through the next couple of weeks? Have we not seen the best version of Yucaipa yet? You think you guys can, crank it up to that next level, and we'll see even, a better version of the T-Birds the next several weeks?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think we've had our best offensive game yet. We haven't broken out and gotten 15 whatever hits and putting up runs like we have in years past. So I think there's still a lot more room to go. I think it just takes one game for us to break out and for the bats to get hot. I think once that happens and we just battle and just grind it out, then I think we'll be good.
100%, I agree with Danny here. Our arms have been nothing but good for us. They've held it down on the mound for us. It's just a matter of time where we break out and do our jobs as hitters and just execute and plain out have energy and want it.
Guys, listen, baseball players are wacky. You know this, especially the closers, right? The guys in the bullpen are always you got some screws loose. They're always kind of nuts. But, let's say you guys go out there and, the bats aren't doing what they're supposed to do or whatever. Are you superstitious in the fact that you want to change something up? Like, I'm not wearing those socks again. I'm getting new batting gloves. I'm not eating, a granola bar before the game. Like, do you guys feel like when maybe things are getting a little cold, slumping a little bit, you got to mix it up and do something different?
That's actually funny. Me and me and Wes have this thing where we say, if you get new grip and new batting gloves, that's at least two knocks in a game. So I would say that's superstitious. We have that thing with us. Like,
for sure.
You get some new grip and some new batting gloves on your set.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Like, if you're going through a rough spot, maybe change up the grip, change up the batting gloves, and you'll feel fresh again.
Is it true? Like, does it work? Have you done that? And it's proven?
Yeah, we believe so.
It's worked for us before, so I don't know.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Guys, what do you think it's going to take for Yucaipa? Let's just assume you guys make the playoffs, which I think you will, but what do you think it's going to take to make a deep CIF run? I mean, I don't know. Let's see. 2019 is when they won, Division II, which was not too long ago. So you guys were probably, 7th, 8th grade, I think, maybe at the time. So it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So what do you think you've been around the program for 4 years now. What do you think it's going to take?
I think we have a pretty young team this year. We have some young guys, so I think it's going to take just slowing down the moment, having leadership, and just letting the guys go. Just playing loose, playing free, not playing tense, not trying to do too much, just going out there and playing our game and running our offense.
Yeah, I think it comes down to just everybody buying in and everybody wanting to be out there and everybody wanting to be there and wanting to win. And like we've said before, it comes down to our at-bats and our ABs and us breaking out as hitters and just getting the job done.
Awesome, guys. Listen, this has been a lot of fun doing this interview. You guys are two big-time studs here in the IE. Really appreciate the time. Congrats on 100 hits and counting. LSU, USC, all that stuff, man. And there's so much baseball still in your future. So Major League Baseball draft, hopefully, and a pro career, all that stuff. So Wes Hickey, Danny Arambula, guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate you jumping on the Inland Sports Show.
We appreciate it.
Inland Sports.
Big thanks to Danny and Wes for that interview. Continued success to both of those guys. Before we wrap things up here on the Inland Sports Show at Home Edition, a big shout out to CBU women's basketball going to the big dance, the NCAA Division I tournament, March Madness for the first time, playing on the road at UCLA in the first round on Saturday, and Cal State San Bernardino men's basketball making it to the Division II Elite Eight for the second consecutive season with Gus Arginal, their first-year head coach of the Yotes. So congratulations to both basketball teams. All right, a big shout out to Johnny Nunez, our director at Teen Vision TV 16. He was busy tonight, so we had to roll out an at-home edition. It's all good. We had some great interviews. A big thanks to all of our guests: Jurupa Hills football coach Tommy Leach, Beaumont baseball coach Travis Tomsen, and of course you just saw Danny and Wes here, and Riverside Poly softball. My name is Pep Fernandez, guys. God bless you. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show.